Hello and welcome to Champagne Channeling. Happy Friday. Thank you for joining, you guys. I have a special guest and friend, Diane Ludeking, and she has Soul Places OASIS. She communicates with animals. So I'm so excited, Diane. Welcome. Thank you for joining me today.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Yes, did you bring a beautiful beverage of choice?
I did.
Oh, you did. Are you drinking rosé?
It's actually a French martini.
Oh my gosh, look at you go. I brought some sparkling Prosecco, actually. I didn't have any champagne, so we're going
Yeah,
with the Italian form of bubbles.
I put Prosecco in my French martini so I could have some bubbles too.
It's so beautiful. Well, cheers. I'm so happy to connect with you.
You
I love
too.
it. Oh, we're drinking the pink drink.
Yeah, I couldn't help but get all into the feminine. Everything about you is all the feminines. So I was like, I'm gonna put on a pretty shirt, get a pink drink.
Yes, and your background's beautiful and your necklace is beautiful. I love it. I appreciate that. I honor all the feminine energy. I think you know that about me.
Yep, I love it.
Okay, so Diane and I met through she's the name change, the Spirit Collective, the Spirit Circle with Danielle Sterank. And so that episode got published a little bit back. And so her community, I've met so many amazing people, and you and I connected, I feel like right away. And you've come to my classes, and then animal communication has been a curiosity of mine. I don't know if you remember this was a while ago, but you and I did a practice and like cats came up, like feline energy. And every time that I do a reading of any type, there's feline energy of some sort. And so I'm just curious because I want to know all the things, but what is it in a nutshell do you do? Like, I'd love for you to describe your business and your offerings, and then we'll kind of dive into a little bit more of the fun stuff.
Yeah, I do. It's animal communication. I guess I call myself more of an animal liaison.
Okay.
And I just do, I call them audio journeys. So they're just recorded sessions where I go really, really deep with your animal. And I just go off of a photo and then some information that is emailed to me beforehand. So I don't actually connect with the humans. And there's like 3 questions or intentions that the humans can set or ask for the session. And then I just record this journey that I go on with their animal. And it is sort of a blending of the very physical aspect of the animal's life and then their spiritual, like their soul too. I sort of connect, I guess, with their higher self and their spirit council. And sometimes even the humans spirit council or higher selves come in. So it's just a recording of like that journey that I go on with their animal.
Oh my gosh. I want to have a session so bad. I'm definitely going to. But what I'm wondering is we hear about medical mediums. Are you able to tap into what is going on physically if there's an illness, or do Reiki healing around that when you work with the animals?
Yeah, for sure. It all depends on the animal. Sometimes they like to hide things from us. Like I had a session with a dog who was hiding their cancer from everybody. I mean, the veterinarians, 2 different veterinarians had given them a cancer diagnosis. But when I went in to connect with the animal, they were hiding it from me. So then I just get really inquisitive about, well, what do you want to do about this? And it just turns into a great conversation with the animal about, like, do you want to see what we can do to remedy it? Or like, is this part of your journey to experience this disease? So just a lot of inquiry around it. And then I ended up doing, I think, 6 sessions with that dog, and they are completely cancer-free now. And
Wow.
totally happy. Like, their humans are like, we can't believe, like, she had a month to live, and it's over a year. It's been over a year now. So it
That
just depends on the animal. But yeah, I call it energy medicine. So I do bring in that aspect too, to see what we can do to clear stuff if they want to, or sometimes there just needs to be a progression with the humans, like, hey, we how can I help you accept that this is their journey, or how do you want to help them clear this and have a different experience?
I'm getting so many questions already. So the first one, I guess, would be, do you think that our animals, because everything is energy, do you think that they absorb and take things from us and for us as a servant to us? Like, do you think that sometimes, like, if something is disruptive in the home, could our animals be more inclined to maybe develop cancer because of what they're trying to heal for us, and then it gets stuck in them? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it could certainly be part of what they came to experience. I don't ever like to say that we actually contribute to their dis-ease or their energetic disharmony, because they have chosen that as their experience too.
Mhm.
But they definitely are affected by the home and the people that live in the home.
Yeah.
And I even had connected with a horse who was taking on all of the grief of the home, so the horse doesn't even live in the home. They're like out in the yard, and they're still aware of this family had gone through a lot of grief and lost a beloved human, and was taking on a lot of the grief and helping the family process
Yeah.
that.
That's like what I envisioned as you were talking, is that the animals are like a sponge for us, because it's their way of serving us, I guess. And then my other question is, so, doing mediumship work and psychic work, I'm like dominant in cognizance, and then clairvoyance a little bit. And clairsentience. And so when you're communicating with animals who like don't speak, don't have a voice box, how does the communication come through for you? Like, is it more in feeling, or is it visual, or do they have a voice? Like, like how does it show up?
Yeah, I get the information I guess I use all of the clairs. I've
Yeah.
been very fortunate to see things sort of as a moving picture or images. I do hear their voice conversationally. I feel like that's when I'm really connected to them on the physical plane and their physical experience. I pick up a lot of their personality and how they might talk, which is great for the audio journeys, because
Hmm.
the humans just have a great time hearing that.
Yeah.
I do a lot of times just know things as well. So I'm really, really grateful for that.
Yeah.
I think that's the claircognizance. I really appreciate having that. Yeah, sometimes I will smell things and sometimes feel sensations in my body too if they've got things going on. So yeah.
Love this. So, okay, I'm trying to think, like, for the audience, like what they would ask if they were here, because I want to dive into more of the energetic side for myself. But if somebody, you know, typical, I think, problems are, if my animal is sick, that's causing an issue, I want some help. But another one is like like behavior changes, like chewing things or peeing, like cats peeing on the bed, or things that start to have, there's disruption. Is this something that people usually come to you for, and then you can find solution around the why?
Yeah, absolutely. I've worked with one cat in particular who was peeing all over the furniture, had basically ruined like the bed, the mattress, the couch, had ruined all of the furniture from peeing on it, and was pooping and not using the litter box. So usually pooping outside the litter box is usually a definite, like, I'm really mad at you,
Mm,
human,
yeah.
sort of thing. But peeing can be an aspect of that emotional aspect of the animal as well. But usually there's something going on with the bladder, or a little something deeper when it's a bladder issue. But this particular cat, I just sort of lumped it into having like an autoimmune
Mm,
disorder or disease, which to me just basically means that the animal just didn't really feel love, like that's what I love so much about connecting with the animals, is it's this unconditional love all of the time. So getting to help sort of almost like impregnate the animal with that, like, you are unconditionally loved by spirit as well, and your humans adore you. You know, that's always one of the messages the humans want to give the animal, like, let them know I love them. So just sort of like energetically clearing a lot of I think this cat had been homeless, or had been rescued off the street, and just had a low self-value or perception of itself. And just like having spirit come in and just be like, you are loved as much as any other being, and totally cleared it. Using the litter box now. This cat also had been manifesting some eye issues, and the vet wanted to remove the eye, and so we cleared that too. So this cat does get tune-ups, I call it, like every month or two we just have a tune-up, and to keep it just happy, and using the litter box. And the eye is fine. The last couple times he's gone to the vet, the eye has been behaving how it's supposed to. So
That's so amazing. I love this. Is this something you were born with? Like, did you always have communication with animals, or was it more of something you acquired over time?
I think it was part of my upbringing. I was raised on a farm. We had sheep, and then some cattle. And then my sister always had horses and rabbits. So I just grew up around them, and I just spent time with them. And I had thought that it was because I was good at reading body language that I understood animals so well, because they don't have verbal language. But over the years, wanting to really explore the animal communication and healing, it was like, yeah, body language is a big part of it, but there was definitely more going on for me, like just growing up that way.
What is your favorite animal?
It's horse
Yeah,
medicine.
I was feeling that about you. I was scared of horses. I think I'm still intimidated. Their presence is very, well, it's probably a little bit of a trauma. So when I was younger, I was bucked off 2 separate horses, and one was at I live in Colorado, and it's right near Cheyenne, and we have Cheyenne Frontier Days, and we'd always go up to Cheyenne Frontier Days. And I don't know why I was put on this horse. I don't remember it being like a horseback riding situation, but they came out with the music and those big cymbals, or whatever they're called, the big round things that like make the big, like in the movies, it's like ting, and this horse just like freaked out and bucked me off. And then one was a Girl Scout trip, and the horse was peeing, and they told me, like, when the horse doesn't go, like, kick it, like and I was getting left behind, and one teacher was yelling at me to hurry up, and I didn't know he was peeing, and I was kicking the crap out of him, and he bugged me off. And so then I was like, I'm not supposed to be on horses ever. And so I think I've not got over that. Unless something's wrong with me. They're probably like, she's scared and I don't want her on me. I don't know.
Well, if you think about being around like another human that's terrified for some reason, being empathic, or like we are, like, just think about being around like another human who's scared for some reason, and then we start getting like, okay, I think I need to put some distance between me and you. I think it's the same with the horses. They're like, I don't know what's going on with you, but I don't want to be in that energy.
Yeah, I think that probably is part of it, and they're just so big. Like, I'm like, oh my gosh, they could really do some damage.
Yeah.
But isn't there therapy around horses? Like, isn't there what's the thing where you have to like lift up the hoof, like to connect with them? You need to be able, you know what I'm saying? I think it was like in a movie once.
Yeah, there's a lot of trust involved with being able to pick up their feet, because that's basically their life force. They have to be able to run to get away. Like, that's their whole sense of safety. So if you can pick up their foot, you're going to basically immobilize them. So they have to trust you to do that.
Wow. Cats, on the other hand, will find me wherever I go. Wherever I go in the world, a stray cat or someone's cat will come around the corner and find me. And it has been a theme throughout my life. And I kind of love it. I've had a lot of cats in my life. And, sometimes they're with me for a short time. And I've realized that that's just part of my path. I mean, I've adopted a cat and it ran away. I think it was a stray and preferred to be a stray, and it would come visit me. I was in an apartment. It was many years ago, and I'd go get the mail, and sometimes it'd come up, and every time I tried to pick it up or get it like in my car, it's like, nope, I'm just saying hi, I'm good. And I was so sad. That cat was named Athena, which probably makes sense for her character as well. So I guess when it comes to animal communication, it's all about perceiving energy, just like we do in mediumship or anything else, right? It's just about inviting their energy in and opening up your auric field and then having a conversation, right?
Yeah. I had tried going more specifically, like exploring mediumship. And for me, I had a hard time deciphering, like, is this spirit connected to someone still living, or have they passed? Like, I really, really struggled with that. So I kind of stepped away from trying to practice mediumship, because it's like, I can sense it on all of the levels. So I obviously connect with the living, but I also do spirit readings too for animals that have passed. So for me, it's helpful to know that ahead of time. Like, are they still on the earth plane, or have they transitioned? But yeah, since I can sort of perceive and pick it all up, I can't always tell the difference. But yeah, it is basically just like connecting with their soul, and then there is like that physical aspect to them too, like their personality aspect.
Mhm. Yeah, I'm very similar to you. So sometimes it is hard. There's been times where I've thought it was somebody in spirit and they were still in the body. But what was interesting is I always start my readings with my intention is to promote as much healing and serve their highest good in a comfortable manner. And this mother and this daughter were kind of estranged from each other. And so the messages coming through, even though she was still in the body, were really, really profound. And I was kind of hard on myself because I thought that I was connecting to somebody that had been deceased. And later, months later, this client reached out and just said how impactful that was. And so it's hard because you don't want to say I'm a medium and then end up giving a psychic reading. But when your intention is always to serve their highest good and promote healing, sometimes it's like, do they really care what type of reading it was when the messages came through and then they ended up talking and there was a lot of healing or involved, because then they could have further conversation rather than that message coming through when her mother would be gone. But I struggle with sometimes that, what comes through, it's like, gosh, this feels really similar. And I'm wondering, like, when you do a mediumship reading or a psychic reading, does animal reading feel drastically different to you, or is it kind of the same?
I think the animals are just so much easier for me because I guess I just get them more since I grew up with them. I kind of get their energy and their heart more so. Like, I used to one of my favorite books when I first decided I wanted to be a horse trainer was called Horses Don't Lie.
Hmm.
And that was like my Bible forever, because I was like, yeah, animals don't know how to lie. Like, that's the energy that people uniquely have. And I sometimes think that's why we have spoken word, so that we can like deceive each other. Because
Yeah.
if we could just read each other's energy, like, we know like that what you're saying is not in alignment with how you're actually feeling. So I think that's why I always really, I don't know, was attracted to the animals, because like they're not ever trying to deceive me or lie to me, or they don't try to deceive themselves. So it's just like a way more honest and open channel for me, I
I
guess.
have a part of my life where my belief was that what you just said about men and women. So I was like, I like being around guys because what comes out of their mouth is the same of what they're feeling. And women, I did not feel that way. And so it's like, it was hard for me because it's like, you're not showing up and saying what I feel is going on underneath. And that to me is chaos. And so I would just rather be one of the boys. And so and I have brothers. And then of course I have 2 sons. And so my work was around the feminine. And then now look at me, I'm like fully into my feminine. It's like, well, maybe it wasn't the women, maybe it was the type of women, or, whatever it was. But that's funny how you worded it, because I always worded that about men and women.
Yeah, that resonates too, because I was a tomboy. I always hung out with the boys. So yeah, it's been harder for me to have relationships with women. So there must be something to that, like the wounded aspect of both, and
Yeah.
just being so exposed maybe to more
Mhm.
of the wounded or toxic feminine than the divine feminine. You always look like you embody divine feminine to me.
I had to work on it, and I do love that aspect. I love the journey. I remember having a therapy session in my early 20s where I just was like, I like pink. I just had to allow myself to express how feminine I had been craving to be my whole life. Like I always wanted to dress up. I wanted to go to all the proms, but I didn't show up that way because that wasn't safe. And I never was one of the girls that was like picked or liked, or, I was naturally more one of the boys, because it felt safer. It was more predictable. I didn't quite know how to conform. I was feeling too much. So I wouldn't just go with the flow. I'd ask questions, and that probably disrupted what, a typical lovely female was supposed to do at that time.
Right.
But there's a lot of the divine feminine that has been so rewarding, so playful.
Yeah, I'm working on that more and more. And as I get older, like I want to like have a bubble bath, or like
Yeah.
what does it mean to like let your hair down, even though I just cut all mine off? But like
I was wondering, it's so okay, because you usually have it up. Oh my
yeah,
God, it was long, wasn't it?
yeah, it was really
Okay.
fun.
The camera's deceiving. I was like, did she get bangs, or oh my gosh. Well, congratulations. That had to be like an exhale, when you do something like that, you're like, oh, the release, energetic release.
Yeah. I shaved my head for the first time like 10 or 12 years ago, and it was so liberating. And at the time I did it because I was feeling like there were just so many memories in my hair. It's so
Mhm.
thick and it's so long. And I donate it like every other year because it grows so fast. I just chop it off and I donate it. So like 10 or 12 years ago, I was thinking about like all of the memories in
Ah,
my hair. And I was like, I think I'm ready to let go of a lot of those memories. So it was more like a ritual for me to do it. But
yep.
then it was so liberating. I did it again a few months ago. I just shaved it all off. And
Oh my gosh, I don't think I could ever do it. I think it mine's like a security blanket. I'm not kidding you. I shouldn't say never. Like I don't want to manifest a situation where I have to like shave my head. So I'll do it if I need to, but I really don't want to.
I think that's also part of why I did it, because I always thought it was my best attribute because it was so thick and long and beautiful. And it was
Oh,
like that horse energy too, like
yes,
the tail
yes.
and of a horse. Like I could tie it up in a ponytail and I'd have my tail to swish bugs away and keep me cool. And so I was like, I think I need to like let go of that attachment to my hair
Yeah.
too. Like got rid of it.
Dan, you have a smile that like lights up a room. Like when you smile, it's like it magnetizes everything. And so I feel like you have a beautiful smile. You definitely are fine with shaving your head if you want to shave it. I envy that. I feel like I don't know if I could do that. Like that's bold. That's really bold.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah. I have other, like, I don't know if people will see the video, but I get all like hot and rashy when I talk about myself too. So it didn't really help with cooling me down, cooling me down.
Well, I'm sure drinking like a martini isn't helping either. That's
Yeah.
really gonna like elevate the temperature. What type of martini did you make yourself?
It's I guess it's called a French martini. I like gin, so I used some gin, and then Chambord
Yep.
is the raspberry liqueur and a little
Yep.
bit of pineapple juice,
Oh my gosh.
and then the prosecco to join in your bubbly.
So fancy. I used to drink French martinis a long time ago, and I kind of forgot about them because I don't usually drink hard alcohol, unless on occasion I will, but I don't know. I just typically don't think to have hard alcohol. Margarita is very good at a Mexican restaurant sometimes, but I don't think I would. Tequila all night is no. It's happened, but we'll talk about that another time. But no, that inspires me because I do remember I love pineapple juice.
Mm-hmm.
And looking at the color, I think you made it very well. It's the perfect shade of a French martini.
Yeah, good. Yeah, I love it. I like sweet drinks, so I was like, that raspberry liqueur is perfect for me.
Yes, Chambord, it is. So I have a personal question I'd love to ask, if that would be okay.
Yeah.
So my cat, it's a girl. I adopted her. Her name is Henry. But when we adopted her, I think she went through like 3 or 4. Like she was found and then at a rescue and then at a pet store. And then I went back to get her and she got shipped to another pet store and they told me she was a boy. And so I went to the pet store and I ended up holding her for 45 minutes. And I was like, what is your name? Is it Henry? And she reached up and touched my chin. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's Henry. Like it definitely is Henry, but I didn't want another animal at that time. And so I went home and then a couple days later, I had this meltdown cry. And I think it was because I knew I wanted her, but I didn't want at that point a 5th animal. And anyway, I go to get her and they're like, she's gone. She's not here anymore. I'm like, well, where is she? And so she was at another pet food store, went across town to get her. And they're like, it's a female. I was like, well, Henrietta, I guess. And so I just call her Henry, but she looks like a blue Russian, quite a peculiar cat, but I tell her I love her like 100 million times a day. I love this cat so much. She makes me laugh. I'll like be doing something and I'll look and she'll just be on her back, like fully arms open, legs open, just looking at you. Like she just makes me laugh. But she's peed on him, my husband, twice, and he is not very happy with it. And so I went to Belize for a week and I came back and we had the animals in bed with us and she got on him, peed on him, and then came and cuddled up to me and was purring. And we have a wool Pendleton blanket, so he didn't even know that happened for a minute. And so she was like purring and I was like, oh, I just love when Henry's in bed with us. And then all of a sudden he realizes that he's soaked. And what I researched was that cats will do this when you travel, but he didn't go anywhere. So I was wondering if she thought he made me go. I have no idea, but she's no longer allowed in our bedroom and I'm so sad.
There's so much going on in that little story.
I know. I don't even know if I'm asking like a question. I just wanted to share that with you because it's definitely personal towards him. She's never peed on me. And you know, animals are just so interesting. And I talk to her and I'm like, I really want you to live here. But like, you do know that like, if you keep peeing on the man of the house, it probably isn't going to work out.
First of all, she loves Henry. She loves being called Henry. And like, that's a little bit of your guys's like, your inside joke almost. And I think that's a little bit connected to the peeing on the man of the house, because I can totally see her like doing it and then being like, ha, 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 like tiptoeing over to you and being like,
how it happened. I'm like, uh-oh, this is gonna work out.
Yeah. It's like your guys' little inside joke, especially what you shared about being like the tomboy too, and having felt more aligned to masculine energy, and then you have a female cat named Henry. Like it's very symbolic. I think I have my one cat, it's the first female cat I've had, and I feel like she is a shapeshifter, and it feels like Henry might be a little bit of that too. Like,
and she's a Leo.
Okay.
So, and I'm a rising Leo, so a rising cat, and then she's like the energetics of a lion, Leo, and then like she is a cat.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah, my cat Eleanor is every time I look at her, I like see a different animal in her. So I've been like leaning into that. Like, is that sort of a cat medicine in general, or is that an Eleanor medicine? Because like there's the species medicine, like sort of like the broader things that they bring to our lives, but then of course there's like their individual personalities and experiences.
Mm-hmm.
So I think for her it's more of an individual thing, but I think cats can pretty easily sink into that like shapeshifter energy
Yeah.
too.
So do you, what is your belief around, like, you know, with humans, we're like, okay, we have a spirit and our spirit has lived many lifetimes and we come here to learn and grow and evolve. And I know that there's a lot of belief around animals. Like some people think like animals have one life and that's it and they're done. Or some people even think that like our spirit can come back as an animal. Or so where's your beliefs around animal spirits and if they have many lives or if they can be different animals, or how is that?
Yeah, I think for sure that they can have many lives. I've connected with a lot of them that have had different lives. Different animals. I think it's more rare that they've been a human, or for some reason that's like part of the record that is just still kept kind of in the dark, because I think that people don't want to try and wrap their brains around that. But I do think that we have experiences as different as minerals and like different things too, but I think it informs us in a different way that maybe isn't important to know. So yeah, I think yeah, well, and then there's also like the vicarious karma or vicarious lives too. I think that we can pick up on other people's lived experiences to the point where they feel like our own.
Yes.
So there's always that aspect too. Like that's why people get triggered, and that vicarious aspect, like especially when you're a really sensitive person. So then the water gets really muddy.
Yeah.
And then I'm always like, do we really need to know for sure? Like, was I a cat in another life, or
Yeah.
was I my grandma or something, like my own grandma? So I'm always like, I don't really want to know the answer. I don't want it to be black and white, because I think that's part of the magic, is just being open to anything is possible. And then I try not to judge anything that comes through. And like, okay, what's the message? Then like that's the important part.
Yeah. It's like as you're talking, I feel like I'm getting like downloads, because we think that, or there's a belief that our spirit is like one, because when we're in the body we're one. So like I'm here, you're there, there's a separation. But what if like our spirit is an energetic consciousness that has pieces? And so part of my consciousness, my existence, my soul could have been a cat, or could have been this, or could have been that. And then the accumulation over a lifetime of many different experiences, many different consciousnesses, then is formed together for this lifetime. And so it's like way more multi-dimensional and multifaceted than we could ever comprehend in the human mind, because we want it to be a solid, like you have one spirit, here it is, when it's vast.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like if I ever want to like really lose myself, I live near the Mississippi River. So I'll like go down to the river, and there's almost always an eagle flying around. So it's almost like a merging. Like I can literally sit there and almost like merge with the eagle and just feel like the whole world dissolve away, and just feel like I'm getting goosebumps all over
Me
just
too.
talking about it. Of like yes, take me out soaring over the bluffs and over the river, like change my perspective on whatever my mind is zoning in on and getting worried about. Like take me out like, you know, how many feet above land, and give me that perspective of
Yeah.
seeing the whole city or the whole countryside. So I think there's like a little bit of that too, like even with people we're close to, our spouse or siblings, that if we want to, I think we can merge a little bit and experience. I mean, I guess that's empathy.
Yeah.
Like you can literally experience an aspect of their life if you just take a moment to really be with them. And I'm always asking myself, like, well, what does that feel like? what does that feel like for them? Or how would that feel in my body if I had that experience? And then I just think that's like the magic
Yeah.
of doing this kind of work, is that like ebb and flow and the merging and the pulling apart. And
It's I also have a deep connection to eagles and hawks. Really, in our backyard, we live on a lake and there's a lot of bald eagles, and not a lot, but I feel like there's one that always would come to my tree. And one time I was joking, my mom and I were out on, we have an upper deck, and she was like, oh my gosh, there's a bald eagle in your tree. And she was freaking out, but I was, like pretty much named it, And so I was like, yeah, it's my friend. And this sounds weird, but I was like, I like made it. Have you ever heard them like do that? Well, I was like, yeah, it's my friend. And I did that, like joking, like I was talking eagle. This eagle turns around and looks at me and was like, and did it back. And my mom was like, Jenny, eagles do not talk to people. Like they do not respond to humans. And I was like, well, that one just did. Like that was crazy. It was like a moment in my life that I will remember forever, mainly because of her reaction. But then fast forward like maybe 2 years, COVID happened. I went through my mediumship training. I got certified, and all of a sudden I have this certification and I don't know what to do with it. And I go and I sit, it's winter, but it was more like fall because it hadn't snowed yet. So there's still some leaves on the tree that hadn't quite fallen. And I was sitting under this big cottonwood we have, and sitting by the water, and I was journaling, and I'm like, am I even supposed to be doing this? Like, this feels so bold to just out of nowhere come out and be like, I'm a medium now, like it was a odd time. And I was sitting there, and all of a sudden these leaves start falling around me. And I remember not thinking anything of it, but then I was like, it's not windy. And I look up, and right above me, it was a bald eagle had landed. And I had the same thought of you, is like a bald eagle flies higher than any other species. And I am asking if I should pursue mediumship, and mediumship is about connecting up to, the divine. And so that was a very strong message. And ever since then, I've looked at eagles, especially, but eagles and hawks as being angels and higher spirit of reminding me, coming through and saying like, you're on the right path. And that it seems to always be appropriate when I see them.
Yeah, I love that for you, because you are an amazing medium. Like,
thank you.
You're so good.
Oh my God, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Diane.
I'm glad you got Eagle's message.
Oh, me too. There was another time, I have a video, I'm going to send this to you because I ran by the other week and I was like, I forgot that happened. But is it red-tailed hawk? Red-tailed hawk. Yeah, it was in that same tree, the big cottonwood, and I was in the yard and I was by myself, and I was like, what are you doing? And I just started talking to it. No shit, Diane, it flies out of the tree and lands in the yard next to me. And I was like, I didn't know what to do. It was huge. It was like way bigger than a chicken. And I was like, I don't know what to do now. And it's just pecking in the grass, like looking for lunch. And I'm like, I got scared. It scared me. And so then I just, probably like the horse, I just froze. Yeah. And I have the video of it. You could tell that I'm like shaking a little bit, and then it, flew away after a while, but I'm like, what the heck?
Everyone, I think, has a moment where they want to be Cinderella and be surrounded by the animals. You didn't actually think it would happen, did you, Jenny?
No. I do dress up as Snow White every Halloween.
Is it Snow White with the animals? Okay, yeah.
Cinderella's with the mice. I don't want to be Cinderella. The mice can stay away.
That's one of my favorite memes that you did was, is it the Snow White dress and you're in your bathtub? And you have that voiceover, I'm a fucking princess.
I know. Oh my gosh, that was so funny. I think I'm funny. Like, I will do TikToks for myself. Like, I find a lot of enjoyment in doing them. I know people think they're ridiculous. A lot of people do not understand them at all. I'm like, I think it's just, I don't know. I don't get it, but I will laugh at my own. And that was a good one. Yeah. My husband came home and there's a tripod, like in front of at that point I left the tripod. The tripod's in front of the bathtub. He doesn't know where I am. He comes into my closet. I'm in a Cinderella outfit. I'm drinking champagne alone. I had the Lucky Charms. He's like, what is happening? And that was before like the whole mediumship journey. That was just me like being COVID, like just like, I don't know, I'm entertaining myself.
You have to, so Jenny's, your audience has to go find that reel on your Instagram. As I still like almost weekly go find it and laugh at it. I freaking love that one.
I need to make more. Oh, I got out of it. Because you know, when you do this work, as you know, you want to take spirituality seriously. You honor it. I mean, it's so sacred, but it really can be heavy if it's all that you do. And so being in the human experience, I'm pretty playful. Yeah. And so those two facets of me, I want to blend together in an appropriate dosage. But sometimes I'm like, I cannot be posting this shit.
Yes, you can.
Oh, I appreciate it. Now I want to go make some, especially having some prosecco. I'm like, what could I create today?
It's such a good point though, like, because I lately have been dealing with a lot of animals transitioning too. So it can be heavy, but I think that's the gift of you with your mediumship and with what I do, is that we have a different relationship with death, and dying, and nobody's losing anybody. Like someone's dog just passed away last night. That dog is not lost. That dog is super happy to be back home and around all of the other animals that family has lost that have died, so the words we use, I think, are really important. So I'm always trying to like reclaim words too. Like, can we just start saying that somebody died? Like, that's actually what happened. They didn't get lost. Like, they didn't wander out into the woods and never come back. Sometimes that happens, but like, they're not lost in the sense that the word lost means they died.
Danielle Surank, the Squamish medium, who, she said something when we just talked the other week, and I said it triggers me when people say, oh, she talks to dead people. I do not like that. And I've had to, I can't be reactive when everybody says that, because it's obviously a trendy thing to say. Mm-hmm. But she said, I know when people say that to me, I say, oh no, they're much more awake than we are. And it really stuck with me, because I do believe that. It's like, we're confined by the body. We're limited because of this container we're in, where we came to do the work and struggle and suffer and learn and grow and realize there is truth under our traumas and under our triggers. And we're in school. And then when the body is retired, then we're like, school's out. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's really exciting. And so what you're saying, I resonate with so much. Yeah. And I think too, with mediumship or even animal communication, there's two conversations that seem to be present. There's the one that is the consciousness of the lifetime, and then there's the soul. Mm-hmm. And I have been asking for clearer discernment in readings, because the one of the lifetime, sometimes I feel like, is my psychic coming through, because it's the attachment still to what happened here. Yeah. And then there's the soul that's like a lot of times I feel like they get on the other side and they're like, shit, like, well, that wasn't my full intention. I'm going back, but let's let's give credit where credit's due. I did good in this area. And it becomes a little bit of not a comedy show, but a realization that it is messy, but they did the best they could with how the nervous system responded, probably starting off in childhood. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like that's something that used to trigger me too, about everyone's doing the best they can. And I went through that a lot with my family. Like, there were some things that happened that, like, you mean to tell me they were doing the best they could, and that shitty thing happened? Like, that used to trigger me really bad. Mm-hmm. But also coming around, like, to the different perspectives and points of view of it. Like, yeah, the nervous system is definitely involved. There's the very human aspect of what is going on, while the soul is sometimes like knocking on the door, like, hey, yeah, check in here.
I think, like, instead of they're doing the best they can, they're doing what their nervous system can handle. That's
Right.
like a little bit more like, okay,
Yeah.
I'm going to offer a little bit more grace around that because I know what it's like to have blind spots in areas that I'm not my best self. But assuming people are doing the best, you and I it triggers me too. That's why I'm saying you and I think it's a reaction because we know how hard it is to do our best because we have the bar set really high.
Yeah.
And it takes a lot of intention and a lot of self-reflection and a lot of work.
Yeah. 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 That's how I came around to call my business Soul Places Oasis, because I really started seeing this very physical earth plane aspect of being here in this body, in this house, in this city, whatever, but then also getting more and more connected with my own soul. So it's like the soul, and then the places is like the physical aspect, and it's like the both. We're 100% both. And then also finding sort of that neutrality in it. So looking at the things that trigger me and how can I let them expand me instead, and like finding that oasis in this messy part of the physical and spiritual, trying to both manifest. And it is complicated and beautiful and
At the same time.
yeah.
That's
Yeah.
probably why we're both drawn to each other, because we do have the same, like I'm like spirit first, human second, and then honor the spirit, do what you need to do to be connected within and spiritual, but then honor the body by drinking champagne and celebrating and having a party,
Yeah.
and so it's that if we're going to be here, let's find the oasis, let's find the lavender fields, let's find the sunsets where we can really just slow down and be here.
Yeah, I do. I love that. Yeah, and I think that we're both I'm Cancer rising and Pisces sun, and you have both of those in your top
Yes.
three, don't you?
Yeah, Cancer sun and then Pisces moon.
Yeah.
What's your moon?
Libra.
Okay, so you have the balance. See, I'm rising Leo, so you have more of the like, let's find balance and neutrality. And Libras also love like beautiful things and like luxury and to be around space that makes them feel good, whether that be like inside or like a landscape can be just as beautiful as like a beautiful office. But then Leo is about more the party and like, I'm here. Do you like my dress? So, I am attracted to Leos and Aries because they're both that fire that just they take up a lot of space. And all of the women I know, that I've had a lot of very, very close best friends, Leos, and I'm a rising Leo. So they're more dominant and I like to be with them because I can ride that wave and I can flirt with it. But when it comes down to it, like, I really don't want that much attention. I really don't. Like, I like getting ready in my closet. And then I always say it goes downhill the minute I leave the house, because then it's like, I have to deal with people's reactions to me. It's like, I don't really care about the reactions to me. I just want to feel pretty in my own home with my own opinion, you know?
Yeah, that's part of the feminine, like the other side of the feminine too, isn't it? Like we don't necessarily get dressed up for anybody else.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
everybody and people seem to think, like, assume that that's why.
Yeah, it is. And some people probably do. I mean, I assume that. I'm okay with like a female noticing, like, oh my gosh, you look lovely. Like, I would love to be told I look lovely or beautiful, but like to be sexy or hot, not at all what I'm trying to do, And so the masculine attention is not something I'm after, but the feminine recognition is something I love to receive.
Yeah.
Which is like, whatever. Cancer rising, you had mentioned that was something you didn't really like at first.
Yeah, I hated it. Talk about feeling like I call it energetic whiplash. Like sometimes I'll like walk into a room or I'll have an encounter with somebody that totally throws me off center, and it literally feels like an energetic whiplash sort of situation. And when I started leaning into astrology and found out I was a Cancer rising, and that it's like the divine feminine, it's the mother, it's the nurturer. I was like, what?
Yeah.
Like I just was like vomit all over, like, no, I'm a tomboy. And I made a decision as a teenager. I did not want to be a mother. I was like, I need a break from raising my ancestors, please. Like, I am not doing that in this life.
Oh no.
There's my
Oh my God. I don't know if this is going to be posted, but I'm going to say for the voiceover, she literally extended her arms and said, like, declared she needed a break from her ancestors, and her whole dividing wall just fell back. Nobody touched anything. That was an energy explosion, and Cancers have a lot of energy, and she just moved a wall.
That's my ancestors. They still find a way.
I think that was you and your boundary. You're like, no more boundaries. I'm doing what I want. Oh my gosh, don't worry about it. I have not posted any of the videos yet. It's not even like up, and it's just was really funny to witness. Like, whoa, you are a powerhouse. Cancers are known for the one that took down Hercules, the Achilles heel.
Oh.
So really, they're very powerful. We just witnessed.
Yeah, I lean into it more because it was like I have 3 older brothers and grew up so there were 7 of us in the house. I have a sister, so 7 of us in the house. It was like crazy chaos, lots of masculine energy.
Yes.
And so then I started leaning into the Cancer rising more and was like, yeah, I do think I need to explore that feminine, like.
Yeah. And it's also like more like Mary Magdalene, like it's a tough love mothering too. It's not like the weak, like, I'm going to make you dinner. Like, and sometimes when you read about it, that puts a bad taste in my mouth, because it's like, this isn't the patriarchy's version of mother. This is like the all like Mother Earth knowing, like, we came here to figure stuff out and lead in a nurturing way that is strong, like a little tough love. At least that's what my exploration with Cancer. And I think Cancers can end up, your rising is different though, because your rising, I think, is more associated with like what you're moving into, your ego, the way that you're perceived by people outside of you or your outer circles. And then, your moon is more of like who you are at home and your internal self. And then your whole big everything together is your Pisces. And so Pisces and Cancer together, I mean, it makes sense we're doing what we're doing.
Yeah.
We feel everything. And in the depths of what Pisces can feel, and then the Cancer of like then trying to freaking fix it and clean it up it's a lot of internal work, and we need a lot more rest. We need a lot more reflection. And most of my life, I always would get depressed during those times. And now I curb the depression with just knowing that work is being done, whether it's in my cognitive mind, because I wanted it all to be up here. I wanted it to make sense. Like, why am I tired? Why do I not have energy? And now I realize, okay, like, I'm integrating. There's a lot moving. Pisces moon takes you deep, and you can't see down there in those depths of the ocean.
Oh.
And so you just have to have that faith. But I was told growing up that I was very connected to animals. Like I think, and I almost feel myself getting a little emotional here, but I think it is the level of innocence and the level of purity that scares me a little bit, because I feel like if I truly allowed myself to open that door again, I think I would just sob. I lost my cat, my love of my life cat, at probably around 12. And when I do my timeline, like write down every year, and I write down the things that happen, that was kind of the catalyst of some very, very, very dark years. And I think that I just would shut off. But that cat would follow me, like walk me to school almost, like, walk me down the sidewalk. She was a barn cat that nobody ever was able to touch. A human had never touched her. And I was at a birthday party and I just was drawn to her. And so I spent the whole birthday party trying to get this cat to let me touch it. And finally, when it did, I picked it up, took it inside, sat down on a chair and watched this girl open her presents and was petting this cat. And the owner stopped in her tracks and was like, not only is the cat letting you hold it, but you brought it inside around chaos and it's purring. You're taking it home. And I took it home. And then when we got it home, we found out I was pregnant, of course. And so anyway, she had a litter, but that cat got hit by a car pretty much in front of me. And it was, I think I turned off some animal connections after that.
Yeah, I kid you not. That is exactly what you were talking about, is exactly why it took me so long to finally do this as my business. So like for the last 10 years, I probably tried several times, like, I'm going to do animal communication. I'm going to do this. It's going to be my thing. And it was that unconditional love, that connection to that innocence, and that I would literally spend days and weeks sobbing, not knowing that I was clearing a lot, but instead seeing like, I can't function like this. So no, I'm putting it aside again, or I'm never going to do this because I can't be a bubbling, crying fool.
Yeah.
And now finally getting to the point where it's like, okay, I get it. I want that unconditional love. I want that animal energy around and close. Please come close. Like, I want to change people's lives. So I do have the mother bear aspect of cancer. Like, I have that super strong, like, advocate for the animals and have the conversations with the animals and their humans, and like make that as beautiful as possible. Like, that changing the world, like one animal, one human at a time is what helps me lean into that now. Like, okay, so if I have to spend an hour crying in the bathtub because it's so freaking beautiful, then okay, I'm gonna go do that.
It comes with it. Have you ever taken your Myers-Briggs? Like, do you know what you are? Like an INFP?
I don't. I think I probably took the test a long time ago, but I'm probably introvert.
Yeah, I would assume so. You should take it. I just feel like we're the same. And when you said mother of animals, it made me think of Game of Thrones, the mother of dragons. And have you seen that?
No.
Oh my gosh, then never mind. But she's like the main character, and there's a lot about her character that I resonated with until the end because it got weird. But there was something that came out that she was like an INFP, and I'm like, I bet she's a Cancer. You should, well, I say you should watch it, but it's like, you should dedicate the next 6 months of your life to this show so you can learn about yourself. No.
Well, I think I'm familiar with the images though, because I do have a lot of connection to dragon energy as well. So yeah, I was looking one day for like dragon, like inspirational, just whatever stuff. And I'm pretty sure I came across a bunch of images of her and dragons, and I was like, totally drawn to it. Like, that's me.
You can watch it, but it's like, I tell you that, and it's I don't know, like, I didn't watch it for a very long time because the first episodes were all about like zombies, there's a lot of darkness and very gruesome stuff. So if you can handle that, then I feel like the storyline is amazing. It's like part of our culture right now. Like, you watch Game of Thrones, and then during COVID you watch Tiger King, and during like it's just all this weird stuff that it's pop culture.
Yeah, I do have my North Node is in Scorpio, so I do love to go dark. I love to like dive into the shadow stuff and the transformation, and I'm surrounded by Scorpio people too.
Are you?
Yeah, that feels very Scorpio to me.
Yeah, my son is a Scorpio. I typically cannot go dark. Like, I really would love for like just Disney children's movies to be playing or nothing at all. Like, I'm more of a reader, and let's have some music going on. it affects my nervous system greatly. But I think that there was so much character development in Game of Thrones that I was able to, I don't know how, I was able to get through it. But typically my nervous system can't handle it. It will end up in my dreams. It will end up like making me sick. My husband likes what is it? The crime shows. Like, why would you want to go to bed with this? Why would you want to know that humans behave this way?
Yeah, I like those shows too.
So many people do. It's a thing. It's just not my thing.
Yeah. I like the Sword and Scale podcast is all about like true crime.
Yeah. Totally up his alley. Opposite attract, I suppose. Oh, okay. I mean, this is so fun. All right. So with your business right now, you are offering the animal medicine, the communication. Is there anything else that you're offering?
Yeah, I'm gonna launch I'm not exactly sure what I'm gonna call it. I have animal alchemy sessions are the ones where I do like the animal liaison stuff. I communicate with them, share messages, and then the energy medicine is part of that. The healing aspect is the animal alchemy. And then I think I'm going to do something like a blended alchemy session where it's more intentional with bringing the people in as well. So the animal and their closest human, or the human that is wanting the session. Because I actually had a client ask me around Christmas time if I would do that. And I was like, sure, like let's see what happens. Because sometimes the humans do just show up in the session because it's important to the animal or whatever. But to intentionally do it, I was like, well, let's just see what happens. And she got a package of 5 sessions and gifted them to the people in her life for the holidays, and loved it so much she wants to do 5 more. So I was like, maybe I should actually make this an offering.
You should.
Because that's like really what I want to do. Well, it's why I got out of the horse training business, because I was training horses, but the humans very rarely showed up for me to also teach them the language that their horse was communicating with. So like, yeah, they would get on their horse in the spring after having a whole winter off, and they'd get bucked off and they'd blame it on the horse. A stupid horse hates me, blah. And I'm like, well, you never came and took any of the classes. So my agreement with Spirit with doing this work now is that I have to affect change in the humans. If it is meant to affect them, change them, transform them, like those are the clients, the people, the animals that I want, is because like the animals want that too. Like they want the humans more involved in, because they have something to do together. Like there's a purpose for them being together. And if you don't know, like I can help figure that out. And I think these blended sessions can be more intentional about like, okay, why is this dog in my life? And the dog is just gonna like be bouncing off the walls with excitement to finally tell you like why you're together. Yeah, so that'll probably I'll probably launch that in the next couple weeks, see how that goes.
It's gonna go amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think there's no one I don't know that's not curious, that doesn't wish they could have a conversation with their animal. I just think it's something that sort of people don't know is out there, or they don't talk about, especially with, I mean, I have a couple friends right now that the vet bills are thousands and thousands and thousands. And it would make so much more sense to tap in on an energetic level and see what's really going on. And like you said, like do the healing that you can provide. And then that one dog doesn't have cancer anymore.
Yeah.
It's amazing. What is your that story was very profound, but is there like a favorite story you have that kind of stays with you about working with a certain animal?
I really do like the ongoing sessions. Like I think that in hindsight, I think that when I first connected with this one cat, that it was ready to transition. Like it was like, I'm out, I'm done, see ya. But then just becoming curious about like, what's going on? Do you want to try? Like, they were completely out of their body, like gone. And the cat was like, well, I don't really want to, like, I haven't learned what I came here to learn. But if things continue in this way, then yeah, I may as well transition. So there are humans. I think I've done maybe 8 or 10 sessions now. And the cat is like completely back in its body. It was feral, like it was completely wild, hiding in this house. Like sometimes the humans would never see it for days. And now the cat is like hanging out in the kitchen with them.
Oh.
So he was like, okay, yeah, like help me get back in my body. He had a lot of health issues. And he became curious about like, okay, why the diarrhea? Or like, well, he just was like, I feel like a sewage.
Yeah.
And so cleared a lot of that so that he could feel comfortable like being tethered to his body again. And then but it's again, the humans are curious and doing what the animal is requesting. And so it's again that relationship that is helping that be magical.
Yeah.
And in the beginning, I was doing a session like once a week. And then I think the energy medicine it starts to hold for longer. And now we just do like once a month or every other month, sort of another cat that I'm doing tune-ups with. So that's one that really has stuck with me, because I didn't know at the beginning that the cat was like ready to check out, and now is like engaging with the human.
Yeah.
There's 2 young kids. So like helping them, helping the cat also know like you're probably still going to get spooked because there's young children in the home and they make noise and there's chaos with kids. So also like introducing that to them, like I can sort of send them images or scenarios, like there might be toys thrown about and things clanking and clattering, but nobody's trying to intentionally hurt you, and helping them sort of with their own nervous system.
Yeah.
Like, okay, like I don't have to go hide under the bed for a week.
Yeah.
When the child throws a toy.
Do you connect with animals on the other side? Like if someone lost an animal, is that something that you do as well?
Yeah, yep, I do animal in spirit sessions.
Okay.
And yeah, that was one that was cool. That sort of came full circle. Recently, I connected with someone's dog, and come to find out, I had connected with their dog that had passed a year ago in June. Their dog had passed, and the last message the dog said was like, "Go out and get another freaking dog." Was just like very much like, go get another dog. You have love to share and a home to share. And then like a month or 2 ago, I did a session with their new dog. Yeah. So that's been pretty cool too, to just, sometimes us humans need permission too, to like go get another dog.
Yeah. And we need to release the shame. And so this is, I want to end with this story. It's a story that I still carry a little bit of shame around, but I want to talk about it because it's reality. And so my husband and I adopted 2 cats, 2 kittens, and they were Blue Point Siamese, and they're gorgeous cats. But we do believe that these ones were probably very inbred. I don't know. They were kind of odd. And I think Siamese are kind of odd. Anyway, for a long time, it just was not a good fit. I mean, really not a great fit. Like they would howl like that, like when I would be doing a session, or just, they needed a lot more attention and it wasn't a good fit. And I didn't want to get rid of family, was what it feels like. But how long, if you're in a bad relationship with a human, you get out of the relationship. If you're in a bad relationship with an animal, find a solution. And so this isn't about abandoning the animal, taking it to humane society, putting it on the side of the road. This is about praying to spirit and saying, I think that these animals can have a better home. And so that's what I did. And I envisioned a woman that was probably alone, because these cats wanted attention 24/7. And everything that came through in my meditation happen. And so I put them in the paper and I described everything about them. And I did declare when I got this phone call that they were starting to urinate on only my husband's things. He really is a good guy. I do not know why. I think the cats want me all to themselves, but my husband is wonderful. I don't know what's going on with this, because now there's a theme. And so this woman called me and she said she was newly a widow. She used to breed Siamese a long time ago. She always preferred to have two. She preferred females and they were sisters. And then there was something else. And so she came over and I immediately was hysterical because I knew it was right. And so I went to her home. She invited me to her home. It was filled with flowers. It was around Mother's Day. And it was the absolute perfect scenario for everyone involved, even though it was painful. And we're still in communication. Every once in a while I'll email her, and they have never peed on anything. They absolutely love their life there. And I know it, I can feel it. And so yes, I did have shame around it. Yes, I miss them. And they are like the most aesthetically pleasing animal like ever. They are so beautiful. And they'd like find places to sit and like pose. They'd look like porcelain cats. They're so, and she started crying too, because she's like, I can't believe that you're going to give them to me. I'm like, I wouldn't just give them to anybody, but I know this is an alignment. And so with that message, just understand that we don't have to have shame around our relationships with animals. Our job is to have connection with animals. And if the connection's not there, they probably would do better in another environment.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that you did a whole visualization about it. Because sometimes we're just a stopping point to their next forever home or their next stopping point. I knew a cat that just wanted to spend a little bit of time with humans now and then, but mostly loved just being a feral cat too. So
I think that's more their nature.
Yeah.
I think cats are more, well, I guess just a lot of the cats I've been drawn to, and maybe this is a reflection, I need to look at it, like what in me is a feral cat. But I just feel like they're natural hunters. They need less attention than dogs.
Yeah, I love that story.
Well, Diane, do you have anything you want to add, or where can people find you? What's your website? Are you on Instagram? All the things.
I am on Instagram at it's at soulplaces_OASIS. And then I have a website, soulplacesoasis.com. So those are probably the two best places to find me.
Wonderful. Well, I really do hope that the listeners are curious, because I know that you're good at what you do. And I am excited to also have a session. I want to know all the things Henry has to tell me. I feel like we shared a life together. I feel like we were like sisters or something. And I just adore your energy. So thank you for taking the time. It's nice to have a little happy hour drink on a Friday with you. And listeners, please go see Diane, book an appointment with Diane, find her on social media. She's lovely. And unless you have anything else to add, I think we'll bring it to a close.
No, thank you so much, Jenny.
You're so welcome. All right. Thank you guys, and have a beautiful rest of your weekend.